Hello, book club. Magus here, back in the library. Today we're going to do chapter 20 and 21. And oh, did I love these chapters. I love the relationship between Purdue and Max. It's so precious. I love the adventure. I love that I can see the countryside along the river. And this author is so good at just making us smell the croissants, right? Just being in that little town along the river bank, and the shops and the people, and I feel like I'm there. So 20, it starts out, Jean Purdue crept down to check on Max. The author had bedded down amongst the books. Purdue, he picks up the book that he had given him. Remember, it was Santare's Southern Lights, Purdue's favorite book. It shows how much he cares for this guy. He gave it to him, and he noticed that he's been underlining in pencil and asking questions. And Purdue, he says, that is how a book ought to be read. I'm glad he says that, because my books, all of them are underlined, written in, highlighted, tabbed. He says, reading an endless journey, a long, never-ending journey that made one more temperate, more loving, and kind. Max had set out on that journey. With each book, he would absorb more of the world, things, and people. And then Purdue puts the book back down next to him. Let me just read some of this beautiful imagery. A little later, he borrowed a bike, and he rode out to the nearest village along winding, empty, narrow roads, past fields, paddocks, and pastures. The church square, cheerful, ruddy-cheeked baker's daughter was taking baguettes and croissants out of the oven. She looked happy to be where she was, in a small bakery that saw boaters in summer and farmers, winemakers, tradesmen, butchers, the city dropouts from Burgundy, the Champagne region the rest of the year. Now and then a dance at the mill, harvest festivals, cooking contests, local history societies, a spot of cleaning and laundry for the artists who lived in converted sheds and stables dotted along the area. This was the life in the peace of the countryside, beneath the glittering stars and the red summer moons. Oh, so beautiful. Jean sat down by the church fountain and tore into a warm croissant. How it steamed, how fragrant it was, how soft and golden inside. Now they head out again down the river, and he calmly steered the ship into the morning light. The coolness in the air gave way to the silky warmth of summer. Don't you love that kind of writing? It's so beautiful. It just really lends to the imagination. Now he's talking to Max about how a lot of his favorite authors came up with their stories. He said, did you know Bram Stoker dreamed up Dracula? He talks about a lot of different authors and how they got their ideas from maybe food poisoning, or Don Quixote started out as a nightmare before it became a classic. And it got me thinking about how many great artists and inventors they got their ideas from that place between awake and asleep. You know, we've talked about this before. Many great inventors. I'm trying to think, is Tesla or one of those, he would hold his car keys in his hands, and as he'd doze off and fall asleep and drop the keys, he'd wake him up and he'd write down what he got. My friends, the importance of meditation. How do we tap in to that other realm? I think it's beautiful. And now this takes us into chapter 21. More of this just beautiful writing that you can lose yourself in. It says the canal ran level with the surrounding countryside, and they saw the occasional single-minded cyclist, dozing angler, or lonely jogger on the path. Meadows where sturdy white cattle grazed, and fields of sunflowers alternated with lush woodland. Sometimes a car driver would give them a friendly honk of his horn. The small villages they passed had good moorings, many of them free of charge, and vying for boats to tie up so the crew would spend their money in their local shops. Then the landscape changed. The canal was higher now, and they could look down into people's gardens. By the time they had entered Champagne region with its many fisheries, Max was operating the locks almost like an old pro. An increasing number of side channels flowed off from the canal into lakes. Gulls rose shrieking from patches of reeds and clumps of bulrushes and wheeled inquisitively over the waterborne literary apothecary. Oh, beautiful. Oh, they went into some towns that were flower-filled, one where pralines were invented. I thought this was kind of a fun little adventure. Purdue's trying to find who wrote his favorite book, and he's got 11 authors in mind of who it might have been. And so they stop at one of the authors' houses to see and ask him, "Did you write Sanary Southern Lights?" And this introduces us to P.D. Olson. I believe he's like in his 80s, and just a character. And he's definitely taken to that slower country life. So here Purdue says, Monsieur Olson, we do apologize for ambushing you like this, but we have an urgent question. And so Olson, he goes, "Oh, yes, of course. Everything's urgent in Paris, but it's not the same here. Here, time cuts its own cloth. Here, the enemies of mankind toil in vain." And so I'm already loving this author. He won't even let him ask his question yet. He says, "First, let's go have a drink, get to know each other." And so they're spending some time together. Then he lets them know that he does recognize him. He knows Max Jordan from his book. He knows Purdue and his literary apothecary. And he asked Purdue, "So what ailments do you prescribe my books for?" And Purdue says, "I do it for retired husband syndrome." And so Olson asked him, "Well, what is this? How does it work?" And and I've seen this. When I was in Florida, I went on a surf adventure, and I parked my trailer is kind of like an old folks trailer park, and got some of the greatest friends. They actually cried when I left because we'd become so tight. I did in the pool every morning. We'd do exercises in the water. We'd hang out and just eat and talk. And I made the closest, most beautiful friends. But some of the older gentlemen, they never knew how to relax, how to make friendships, because they were so lost they dedicated their whole life into their job and their work, and they didn't know how to cultivate friendships. And it was kind of sad. And so I remember the only thing they knew to do was just clean their little space. They'd go out and they'd clean their driveways, scrub their driveways. Make sure their siding had no mildew or mold on it. Where the rest of us, man, we're just having a good time. We're listening to music. We're laughing. We're swimming. We're splashing, just enjoying life. And they didn't know how to do that. And so Olson's book was good for this. Let me read in this a little bit. It says, Olson stared at him. How does that work? When after his retirement, a husband gets under a woman's feet so much that she feels like killing him. She can read your books and she'll feel like killing you instead. Your books are lightning conductors. Max looked perplexed. Olson pinned Purdue with his gaze and erupted into gales of laughter. God, that brings it all back. My father was always getting in my mother's way and criticizing her. Why do you have to peel the potatoes before cooking them? Welcome home, dear. I've done a little tidying in the fridge. Terrible. He'd been a workaholic and didn't have any hobbies. Fairly soon, the boredom and lost dignity made him want to die. But my mom wouldn't let him. She kept sending him out with the grandchildren to do-it-yourself courses in the garden. I think she'd have ended up in jail for murder. Olson chuckled. We men become a pain if our job's the only thing we're ever good at. He drained his wine in 3 long swigs. Okay, drink up, he said. We're off. But you see that? And I'm glad I got to see that as a younger man, you know, to learn from life. Now Olsen takes him to a Tango, I guess it is. It's like some dirty dancing or something. And this old man cracks me up. But I guess they come from all around and to do this tango and dirty dancing and just like living through their dance. They're dancing for their lives. They were dancing for life itself. And now this gets Purdue thinking about Manon again. And so that takes us into Manon's travel diaries. Oh, guys, Manon. So one good thing about her travel diaries, it helps us get into her head, see what her thought process was. I wish Purdue would just leave his boat tied up, jump on a plane, jump on a train, grab an automobile, and drive as fast as he can back to Catherine. The more I get to know about Manon, I for myself, I don't like her so far. I shouldn't say that. I do like her. I don't like the choices she's making because they feel very selfish to me. She's trying to justify, and well, let me start with this. Luke seems to be okay with it. She's okay with it. So that's fine. You know, I got to remember that. It's not about me. And sometimes I think I put myself in the stories. If she's fine with an open relationship, he's fine with it. Who am I? I don't care. You know, but I've been hurt in that area. And so I think both people have to be on board. You know, it goes the other way. Imagine like a man having an affair with his secretary at work because he wants it all, right? He's got the wife at home that he loves, taking care of the children. He loves that life, but he also wants the excitement and adventure of a fiery affair. Why can't he have both? Well, because you're hurting someone if they find out. You know, it's a sense of betrayal and jealousy and hurt. And so both people have to be on board. And now, you know, I don't want to get preachy because I'm preachy enough with my Zoroastrian stuff. I don't want to always bring it to book club, but I can't help just touching on this because I see it rampant again. And I guess it always has been, but people wanting their cake and eat it too, I guess, which I understand. But it doesn't seem to work. And there's people saying this is a possible way. You don't have to be monogamous. But I feel like, and I don't know because I haven't experienced it, but I feel like there's still, at some point, there's going to be hurt feelings. There's going to be jealousy. There's going to be, I've changed my mind. I don't want you sleeping with them. I think. I don't know. What do I know? That's just for me, though. And I think everybody's got to kind of do their own thing. Is there anything that stuck out to me? Let's see. I underlined this. What did I underline? We've always dealt with truths in that direct, clear way, clear as mountain water. I was taught that difficult thoughts lost their poison when spoken aloud. So I'll tell you why that hit me. That's beautiful because psychiatrists use that. Like for people they get stuck in their head and in those loops and negative thoughts, they say write it out, and it kind of loses its power. It loses its fear. You for something about writing it out and looking at it, or sometimes even just speaking with someone, right? Confessing your sins. There's kind of a healing in that, you know, and just hearing yourself talk and thinking, do I believe that? Do I not believe that? Is that right? Is that wrong? Not keeping it bottled up, sharing, letting yourself hear, let others hear, write it out. You know, I think that is very healing and wise. Anything else? Oh, no, I don't care for Manon's letters at all. And I don't want to be negative. But yeah, I'm looking forward to chapter 22. I have mixed feelings about it. I love this book so much. I feel like I'm on a cruise through France and the countryside and the smells and the croissants. And I love the relationship with Max and Purdue. But you know what? If Manon wasn't in the story, it would definitely lose something, wouldn't it? I mean, all the life lessons we're getting out of this would just be a fun trip down the river on a boat with books, which is at my age right up my alley. I don't want to learn any more lessons. I'm ready just to enjoy, but Manon is bringing us these deeper things to think about. What does it mean to me? I know some of you are probably thinking, I like Manon's lifestyle. That would work for me. And then there's people like Team Magus. It's like, I'm a little more old fashioned than that, and I just want to enjoy my life, a little less drama. So anyway, guys, I hope you enjoyed it. I'll see you tomorrow for 22. And I love, love, love you.